Aloha, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dan Dennison. I'm the Senior Communications Manager for DLNR. I had the pleasure of being introduced to the Waimea Nature Park back earlier this year when we were producing a story for Forest for Life that's been airing on KHON, and met Arlene and some of the other folks, and that was a great day and really fun. Had the pleasure of interviewing Leningrad that day, so I was really happy that I got to speak with him before his untimely passing a couple of months ago. I just wanted to read, we'll send out a news release after the ceremony. I just wanted to read a couple of paragraphs as an introduction, and then I'm going to call Bob Masuda, who's the first deputy for DLNR, to come up and say a few words about each of our honorees this morning. Established 23 years ago, Waimea Nature Park is the go-to place for family fun in Waimea. Operated and maintained by the Waimea branch of the Outdoor Circle, the park was a tangled mess of invasive trees with the ground covered in Christmasberry when you folks all started clearing this area. Cheryl Langton is the current president of the local Outdoor Circle group. Unfortunately, she can't join us this morning, but she said the park started when people realized there were fewer and fewer open spaces in Waimea, not many parks, and a lot of private land. Carol Hendricks, a past president of the Outdoor Circle, was instrumental in starting the park and worked for more than 6 years to get a lease from the state. We'll hear more about that in just a couple of moments. Just a little background on the DLNR and U Citizen Conservationists Award. This was conceived during the IUCN World Conservation Congress back in 2016, and it's really our way of honoring people who are great partners for DLNR in our work to protect the natural and cultural resources of Hawaii. Our first award is going to go to Carol Hendricks posthumously. I'd like to call Pete up to accept the award. And Bob, it's right there by your, and you can pull it out of the plastic if you'd like, and we'll have Bob present the award to Pete on behalf of Carol. If you do it behind the stick over here, yeah.
Behind the stick.
Behind the stick.
Yeah, they have to catch a plane, so we have to hustle it on. So my 20-minute speech has to be cut a little short. But I'm a Waimea resident. When my wife and I came home to Hawaii from Chicago back in the early 90s, Pete and I got together and we ran YMCA things together. Pete got the sailing program going. And then I met Carol through Pete, and you can never forget Carol because the first time I was first deputy at DLNR, and I was parks director at the county of Honolulu. I got to know Carol, and she started. Carol has a way of biting your ear and not letting go, you know. And Pete is still carrying on her legacy. Pete has been a very dear friend, and so in a sense this award going to his wife is going to them as a couple also, because as a couple they together help with Carol ragging us in government to give more stuff and to help support the park and all of that through Kaulunani, you know. And you can't stop Carol. I didn't have a choice when they had the Outdoor Circle meeting or when they had the Kaulunani annual meeting. She would call me and say, Bob, you gotta be there. So I was there, sat with her and learned more about this. But I knew who was doing the grunt work on the ground. And that's Pete, and he's still doing it because Carol is up there saying, okay, Pete, pick up this and pick up that and do this and do that. But the Hendricks are instrumental in this park. I think you all know that. So join me in giving Pete and Carol a hand. Thank you. And on behalf of the Department of Land and Natural Resources, I'm delighted to present this Citizen Conservationist Award to Carol posthumously, and Pete will accept for her. But this award is not given lightly, and there are very few that we give out. But to Carol and Leningrad, we felt that this beautiful, I knew what this place looked like before it started, because I lived right around the block, right by the park. And Pete and I would come out here, and it was not a park, but it was created into a park by the Outdoor Circle. And the Outdoor Circle as you know, does outstanding work for years and years and years. But Carol, I can still see her pushing and making sure this park is there, getting more beautiful each day. And Pete, thanks to your hard work for making it happen.
Thank you.
Here's to Carol and you. Here, bro.
Thank you both. Thanks, Bob.
I'm just going to make
Yep, yes, please.
mention thank you all for doing all this work, and please help recruiting volunteers, since this is all volunteer driven, under the age of 60. We'll take people up to 65. But this all started, just little things that start other things. One day, my wife Carol and a couple of other Wahinis, there was a Priscilla Growney and Cha-Cha Kohler, and one other person whom I can't remember, were in the back of what is now the Mauna Kea side of the shopping center, and they were horrified to see that the beautiful old cypress trees around Dochin's meat market were being chopped down. And that's what initiated the idea for this place. So from one small seed, look what happened. And this was in the land before time. This was a lot of years ago. So thank you so much for Carol, and we'll keep this a great place for the community.
Many of you who've been here for a while know Heather McMillan, who heads up DOFA's community and urban forestry program, and she couldn't be here today because she's on the mainland on a conference, but I just wanted to read a couple of remarks that she had about Carol in Leningrad, who will be our next honoree. Waimea Nature Center was one of the first Kaulani community grants which supported the purchase of trees, but they did so much more than just plant. They transformed an empty lot into a verdant native forest where many different kinds of community members, based on age, interest, and origin, come to enjoy. The number of people the park reaches and the number of volunteers is remarkable. Many classes visit the park for ecology, botany, forestry, experience, and more. They not only planted ohia, but also raised awareness of rapid ohia death when it impacted the park. They were totally on it. Although they lost a couple of trees, they reached out right away for technical assistance and were proactive in management. I personally, this is Heather speaking, have lovely memories of being at the park with Leningrad and Cheryl. Cheryl gave us an intro to the place, and Leningrad entertained and educated our Kaulani Council with many stories. He also shared an ohia pin holder he had created himself from fallen ohia. I actually have one as well, very honored to have that. It sits on our desks till this day as a reminder of Leningrad and the generosity of the spirit he shared. So if I could have Leningrad's entire family come up, and we'll present the award to Paula, and Bob will have a few short and brief remarks about Leningrad.
I do want to say to Paula that I know the Nakasone family, so her first cousin and I went to junior high school, and throughout life have been friends. And Jean's husband, Ray, who was a state controller at one time and director of water supply for both Kauai and Oahu, and I grew up together. So it's special, being Kaka'ako boys, we always stuck together to the end. But Paula, I met your husband when we first came home to Big Island in 1993, and so I knew him through his time as a policeman, a councilman, and a community volunteer. And we had some good times talking stories. And I had been to Russia and all of that, all over the world many times. And so I was interested. I said, Erlenov and Leningrad, you must have some Ruski blood. and we would talk about that and about the Russian settlement up in Waikiki and stuff like that, along with Perov and all the others that came. But your husband was a fantastic guy. He I think fits the term irrepressible. Irrepressible. When Lennon gets hold of you, he's like Carol Hendricks. You listen, you go along, but it's fun. And he did a great job for this community as a policeman. He even threw Pete's son in jail one time and got him to square away. And I know what that's like. Where I got thrown in jail a couple times when I was growing up in Kaka'ako. But things move on, and people do good things, and we want to recognize the good things that they do. And as we said earlier, our DLNR Conservationist Citizen Conservationist Award is a rare award. We don't give it out easily. And so, on behalf of the department, I want to present this to you in Hendricks' memory. And thank you to your family for all you guys continue to do. And I know he's up there smiling, telling some more stories and all of that, but we appreciate him very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. We're delighted to present this not only to Carol and Leningrad and their individual hard work, but to the organization, the Waimea Outdoor Circle, as an organization and as a family of volunteers. Volunteers make America great. I've traveled all over the world doing different work, both for the Y and for government. And the thing that makes America great is not only the business acumen and our economic development, our military, all of that. But the one unique thing is we have a spirit of philanthropy and volunteerism. And volunteerism is something that you don't find in countries all over the world. And I would say more than half of the good things that have happened in America is because of volunteers and volunteerism. And so on behalf of the Department of the Department of Land and Natural Resources, this logo, we're delighted. And as a Waimea family member also, I'm really proud to present this to the Waimea Outdoor Circle. I used to talk to Carol and all the Outdoor Circle ladies as little old ladies in white tennis shoes. And they used to give me a little hell for that, because back in the 80s, when I was parks director, I regained the relationship with the Outdoor Circle back then. So I remember giving annual meeting speeches to the statewide Outdoor Circle. And I remember ending my speech with saying, if it weren't for all these little old ladies in tennis shoes, the world would not be as great a place. And so they all ganged up on me later and said, Bob, we love you, we love your speech, but you can forget the little old lady in tennis shoes thing.
Yes.
And age is not a thing. I won't tell you how old I am, but I'm way older than Pete. So you can keep working. I'm still working as first deputy and deputy chair, and as deputy chair and first deputy, I'm delighted to present this to the Waimea Outdoor Circle for this heaven on earth. It's awesome, and I know all of our kids and grandkids love coming here. So thank you, Carol, thank you, Leningrad, and thank you, Waimea Outdoor Circle. Aloha.